and some other various topics, some announcements, everything else. But I thought I would kick things off. I know, so, Nick and I are obviously close friends. We talk to each other. I live in Southern California. He lives in Austin. Do you know what the COVID kick is? The COVID kick. I know you've been outside enough to see this, so I know you know what it is. The COVID kick is when a pedestrian.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do know what it is.
Or a runner walks up to a traffic light and does the hi-ya, does the Bruce Lee kick to not touch the crosswalk button. And it is an absolute phenomenon of the pandemic. And I've gotten to the point where I find this so enjoyable now that if I'm firmly ensconced in like an outdoor cafe or diner or whatever, where I have view, oh, look, there they're going. And you're going to see somebody run up and, just do the hi-ya and kick that crosswalk button so they don't have to touch it and keep going. I think someone needs to make a YouTube compilation of just everyone doing the COVID kicks because I think it's hilarious. Anyway, I couldn't help but laugh about that. But you figured it out before I even told you what it was.
Yeah, well, I thought you were talking about a different one, but with the handshake, like, you know what I mean, where they do it with the feet.
Yeah. But came out with that video early on.
Yeah, but speaking of COVID, right? Like, that's obviously like where we're headed with this. Art sales continue to explode, Yep. And it's like we started talking about this back in April when we saw the data ourselves, right, from our own artist and photographer websites, right, their own sites. And what, every week we meet as a team and we look at the overall sales, and so we're looking at that. It's obviously a very important number to us. We're always measuring success, and success to us is the volume of sales that is being sold through the individual artist and photographer websites, right? That's obviously what this whole thing is about. That's what Art Storefronts is all about. And so again, I mean, is it not amazing to you, the pattern here, Pat? It has not stopped. It has not slowed down one bit at all. It's Black Friday levels of sales. Now we're in the middle towards the end of August. And this has been going on for the last, 5 months, right?
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Look at Kim Zavia, okay? Of which I am a proud owner of one of her works of literature.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, and Kim was on our private. She was on our private member workshop on Thursday, and was talking about this. It's just awesome.
Yeah,
just awesome. Sold a bunch of original paintings.
It literally is like the perfect storm, right? Like on one side, you have art being in the home decor category, just continuing to explode and everything else, and then the other side of it, there's a lot of really smart people saying it ain't going back to normal, period. And let me tell you the context.
Yeah.
Frame that. San Francisco rent prices dropping precipitously, never happened before. New York, same thing. Like, people are finally starting to realize that we are habitual creatures. We are capable of changing our habits and living in some of these bigger cities, paying this ridiculous rent when you no longer need to do it. Like, cat's out of the bag, and there's only so far that you can push people, right? And I go to this publication. So the guy who's the CEO of Etsy, they just did their quarterly earnings, which are obviously off the charts. But he had this really, really interesting line, and I want to quote him. And he said, "We are all creatures," and I quote now, "We are all creatures of habit. And shopping is largely habit-driven. There are very few times in one's life when you have the opportunity to reshape their habits. The classic three are when you get married, when you move, and when you have a baby, okay? Otherwise, your habits are pretty cemented, and you're not really open to forming new habits." God, is that me? And so what this current moment has created is a moment where everyone's habits are up for grabs. I thought that was profound, and he's right. He's right. They are up for grabs. And every day that it marches on, those old habits are not coming back. And I'm telling you right now, people are so gun shy. I'm starting to see the fall is coming flare up type of news stories, right? When somehow the news gets through my filter. Stay out, you negative Nancy's. Get out of here. It ain't coming back. The offline is just not coming back, period. It's really not for a long time. So I say all that to say, The habits are changing. We're going to be in our houses. Let's be honest. This thing's going through the end of Q4. With those change in buying habits, more and more and more going online, more and more and more being spent on the home, in Q4 coming. We have a tidal wave coming.
Yep.
We have a tidal wave. No one's going out. No one's eating outside anymore, especially when the winter comes. Bars out, events out, concerts out, traveling internationally, forget about it. Hiring the babysitters, nope. So where is that disposable income going to go?
Yeah, exactly. And here's the thing too, is that like, you know, this work from home thing, right? This remote work, this is one of the biggest things ever, you know, because we knew that in the beginning of the pandemic, that a lot of the volume was being driven by people like, oh, wow, I got to work from home. I might as well put a piece of art up on my wall, you know, to like make my environment more inspirational and so forth. Right. And, and like, you know, people speculated on like how quickly the pandemic was going to be over, how quickly people would be going back to the office. And you speak about habit changes. And now this is like a way more permanent situation. You know, I mean, there's companies that have announced their work from home through 2021, that's a year and a half, right? There's companies who have, they're negotiating with the commercial real estate brokers that they work with nationwide, saying like, we're out, or like, we're going to downsize by 75%, you know, like we're going to allow more work from home. We're going to, you know, I mean, there's so much of that going on. So now it's like, work from home is it's more of a permanent thing. You know, it's going to be like taking more people are going to be working from home as a percentage of their overall time than ever. And so this thing is just continuing. So it's a really interesting situation, you know, it's a really interesting situation.
I read, and I just triggered my memory because I didn't want to misquote it. REI plans sale of unused 8-acre headquarters campus as the retailer embraces remote work. It's abandoning its headquarters before employees even moved into it. And you look at this picture and this building looks like paradise. I mean, hopefully someone snaps it up. It looks like rock climbing paradise. But yeah, it's hard to see the worm turning when you're on it, right? But we're going to look back as one of the biggest and most profound shifts ever. And obviously, what is our focus? On how it changes the art market. How does it change the art market? It is the era of the artist or photographer selling direct, building their own following, selling direct, owning it all, no middlemen,
owning it all,
leveraging video to sell DTC. And look, we are in August, okay? You've got a couple of months to ramp up and get ready for Q4. And it doesn't matter if you're on our platform and you're already there. The advice is the same as if you've not started, period, okay? Not started, period. So it's people don't seem to understand that this represents the single solitary. I feel like art and photography sales, that particular industry, is having its Uber taxi moment. It's having its Netflix blockbuster moment.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like it's just going to get blown right out of the water, and it's already happening, and many don't see it on the wall. I feel terrible for the galleries, okay? I feel terrible for the show circuits and those people that are underwriting those things and had the rentals and like, you know, the staff. But the reality is that those days, they're not coming back. They're not coming back.
No.
At any percentage strength, period. And especially like the high prestige ones, you're done. You're done. New York's going to take years to come back. Portland, years. Los Angeles, years. Like buying habits, not to be messed with, forever changing. It's, you know, I'm just sitting here in like a reflective mode, just thinking about it out loud, and it is wild. Absolutely.
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild. You know, we talked about this, like, I mean, the retail apocalypse that's happening nationwide, right? Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to be near impossible. What is it? Like already, like it's like there's a very large percentage already of restaurants have closed, you know, restaurants, right? And other types of retail stores. And way more are going to. I mean, the art galleries, they had no chance. I mean, I'm sorry. Like they were already operating so thin on death's doorstep. There's just no way, you know? And you know what? If I was advising an art gallery in anywhere and they said, Nick, what should I do? I'd say, don't renew your lease. Negotiate your way out of your lease. Forget it. Like I'm just telling you, like, that's just the smart move to make. Try to make it online if you can, right? Like, that's a hard.
You were gone, so you didn't hear. I let the cat out of the bag, and I shouldn't have done it because it's honestly such a good idea that I'm really terrified that someone's going to take my idea and run with it. I'm not terrified.
Oh, no. Don't say it again. Shh. Make somebody go back and listen to it. Don't let the cat out of the bag. I know exactly where you're going with this, and I'm going to say no.
Did you hear it?
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, though. I'm not going to let you say it.
We'll say it
a year from now. We'll say it a year from now. No, I wouldn't touch that with it. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Go back and listen to Art Business Mornings. You'll get my treats.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I'm definitely not there, but I hear you. And the more important thing here is just that, like, the opportunity. Like, if you're an artist or a photographer and you right now, like, I don't care where you're at, whether, like, if you were in galleries and doing art shows and all that got pulled out from underneath you, and you have not like mentally understood the shift you need to make, that you need to be like selling direct, doing your own marketing and all of that. Like, I don't know where your head is at. We're going to look back at this time right now, this year. Like, I'm serious. We're going to look back at this time this year. And like 5 years from now, you know, people are going to look back and they're going to go, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that I should have got in and like really focused on that at that time, right? Why? Like, why is that important? Why do I say that? I say it because an art business or any entrepreneurial business, it's not a light switch that you just flick on, okay? Especially as a creator, it's not a light switch you just flick on. The better you get at marketing, the better you get at email marketing, the better your strategies get, the better your tactics get, the more knowledge you have, the better you get at selling your product, the better you get at showing it, the better you get at talking about it, the better you get at, you know, have like going live and doing, you know, connecting with your audience on social media in your marketing. The better you execute at all of that is how you're going to build a great business. And it is not something that you flick on like a light switch. It takes years. It takes years, okay, of like building those muscles and building your brain and getting smarter and more intelligent about how you do these things the right way. Which, you know, making a ton of mistakes, failing all over the place, right? Failing all over the place. One of the greatest things to that I could say, and other entrepreneurs say this as well, and I'm stealing this line because it's just so true, right? The only reason I've ever had any success as an entrepreneur in anything is because I've just failed more than almost everybody. Like thousands of more failures, right? Like where you just have to keep picking it back up and you persevere and you keep going, right? And so there's a requisite number of failures that you gotta have and mistakes to build that muscle, right? To execute better as a marketer, as a business person. And there's no way to get there aside from actually like doing the work and failing. So what's gonna happen, you think, to everybody who's been investing in themselves this year or last year or the year before and where they're going to be 3 to 5 years from now? We talk about Matthew Locke. Surprise, surprise, Matthew Locke, the reason he can do these live art shows and some of this different stuff, and he doesn't have like a massive, crazy following like some other photographers that we have on our platform. Like that's the truth, right? Yeah. But because he's been doing the work, he's been building his muscle in selling direct. You know, he's able to do these shows and sell $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, right? Himself, direct, online, right? In like a month doing these live art shows. So if you it's really such a profound moment. Like I'm totally ranting on this right now, but I've been thinking about this a ton over the last couple of weeks where I'm like, you can't flick this thing on like a light switch. You can't, right? And so the best thing that you can do.
It goes even deeper. It goes even deeper than that. You want to know why? Because the light switch analogy works both ways. Guess what? Spinning a gallery business back up, spinning the shows back up after the shell shock that everyone is going to be. You think that's a light switch? You think that's going to come back right away?
Oh boy, no.
Repopulating New York to 100% or San Francisco or Los Angeles or any of these cities, people are fleeing in droves. You think that's a light switch? It goes both ways. The change doesn't happen overnight, right? Especially those types of changes. So we are in a wild time. We are on the worm. It's turning, and it's hard to see how big of a shift it actually is. Like insane.
Yep. Yep. And I look at like, Kim Winbury, who's in our comments here on Facebook, and Kim Zabia, and Elizabeth, Sheridan, and like some of the members at Art Storefronts, right? And like everybody wants sales.
Halloween, first week, last week sold.
Oh yeah, on Instagram.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Love that.
Big deal.
That's a very big deal. Very big deal. But like what I look at is like everybody wants sales immediately, right? So we always celebrate when you get these sales, but the reality is it's like I'm looking at like 3 to 5 years from now, and I'm just going, like you're on the right path. Like when you're looking at like a stock chart or something like that, right? When you zoom out to like on the S&P 500 or any other like stock, like, that's been around for a long time. And you're looking at a way more macro perspective, right? Yeah. You get less of the zigzags, and the line kind of flattens out. As long as you strategically are on the right line, you guys are going to have hundreds more failures, hundreds more disappointments, okay? Hundreds more, times where you wanted to have more, but you didn't get it, okay? And then you're going to have some times where you do get it. You have this massive, success, right? And it happens. But that's what the next 3 to 5 years is going to be. And you just go into it mentally knowing that, but like, I know you're on the right path. Okay. And if you, and it's like you're on the right path, and there's the 99.9% of the industry is not. Straight up. They're not, they're not on the right path. And even if they start getting on the right path, they usually have a horrible mindset, right? And I mean, it's like dodging bullets, right? Like, I'm serious, like I can give you all the advice that you want, and so can you. And we do, obviously, in our non-member workshops, non-customer workshops. And we should talk about that too, because we've got another one coming up on Wednesday. On Wednesday. But like, I mean, you just get started. People just get started, and they expect things to happen in 30 days or in 90 days, right? Like if really good things happen to you in 90 days, like you're the exception, not the rule. I just want you to know that, okay? Like, do you know how many companies are out there that there was just one article I was just reading the other day, or I'm trying to think of which company it was. It's a company that we all know. They had 0 sales for a year and a half, zero. And they're like $1 billion company now, right? And so what did they do during that first year and a half? They were building, they were iterating, they were testing, they were trying, they were pivoting, changing things, failing, kept working at it, keeping your costs low, right? As low as you can. And you keep iterating, and you just keep getting a little bit better every single day. If you wake up every morning and you're a little bit better every day, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. Don't let yourself ever get discouraged. You're going to be fine.
Notwithstanding the fact, though, that like since we started the Zoom calls with the customers, which, let's just go ahead and drop a little point on the chart, game changer. Since we've done that, and there's people on here that are customers and they'll nod their head, and then there's people on there that are not customers. And so let me say it to the non-customers because it won't make sense. Art Storefronts pre-pandemic, essentially online digital education. Art Storefronts post-pandemic, online digital education with in-person teaching sessions. Ball game. Really different changer. But the larger part of why I'm bringing that up, which is so damn rewarding, I can barely tell you, is we're starting to see the residue of success that's come from execution since March, right? That something tipped. I don't know if you feel this way, but you missed a couple of last one. Something tipped in like the last 3 weeks, a month, where you're just sitting there and you're going, whoa. And to be honest with you, are you seeing it today? Colleen's thing pinned, that's not really fair because she just started. But you've got Kim, you've got Beth, you've got other Kim, you've got Katie, and they've had 10 sales in the past 90 days. Like, as much as we would love to 100% take credit for that, it's not our products. They are executing, okay, and executing consistently for a period of months. And what comes as a result of that? The results that we're starting to see. Are they going to buy our Mercedes tomorrow? Absolutely not. But they're on the path. Right? And it's rewarding.
Focusing on the right things.
It's rewarding to see. And then Q4 is going to come, and it's just going to be
putting in the right effort, putting in the effort in the right places. Like you see, Katie, I've had 10 sales in the last 90 days. I started with Art Storefronts in May. Nice job, Katie. That's great to hear. It's awesome.
That can't include the electrician one though, because that's technically trade. Service trade. I love those stories though. I love those stories. What do we got in terms of announcements?
Yeah, let's talk about a few things. Okay, I think first and foremost is we have an early bird Q4 special. Okay, it's expiring at the end of the month here in August. Okay, that's like 10 days away or so, maybe 11 days, right? And the spots are filling up. Get your demo request in if you're thinking about joining Art Storefronts. If you want to start, fixing your marketing, getting more sales, going direct, building your online business finally. So that's expiring, but it's a great way to save money to join Art Storefronts before the fourth quarter, which is the biggest art selling time of the year. That's why we're calling it the early bird special. We want people to get on board now because it gets way too crazy for us right at the fourth quarter time. Everybody's like scrambling to launch their websites,
not just that,
and do their marketing.
Yeah, they need to get
everything. They got to get everything in place
now.
Yeah, and it like overwhelms our support team during like the months of like October and November, like really bad because everybody's trying to rush towards Black Friday in the fourth quarter. But you really want to get in right now.
They have to get going in order.
You got to get going. You got to get going. Yeah, like if you're listening to this right now, like you should be doing that, right? Don't be the guy that like launches in October or November, right? Like we're telling you now, like we're giving you the warning. And you got to take advantage. Like this is one of the things, right? You got to take advantage when there are biggest art selling times of the year. If you are not selling a lot of art at those times, I don't know what to say about you. I'm sorry, I just have to say that. Like, you don't ask about Facebook tactics. Don't ask about an Instagram tactic. Don't ask about a marketing tactic because that's not your problem. Your problem is you aren't executing when the buyers' wallets are out. That is your number one problem. That is literally your number one problem, right? Fix that first and then ask another question, right? You have to execute perfectly or as good as possible at all the biggest art selling times of the year. And there's quite a few of them. The fourth quarter happens to be, the tsunami, right? It's just the big dog. So getting started right now is totally key. So that's the big thing. Request a demo. Do we have a link in these posts, Pat?
Oh, of course, everywhere.
Always. Okay, so you
Linktree on Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. Go to the bio, click on that link, and you'll see a request a demo. Facebook, you'll see a request a demo. YouTube, you'll see a request a demo link in the post. You also can go to our website. Button's always in the upper right-hand corner. Request a demo. Takes like 20 seconds to fill out the form. Get on with our team. One of our people from our outreach team will reach out to you, take a look at your art, learn about your goals, and show you everything that Art Storefronts has to offer to help you like with your website, have a better website. And also, more importantly, our specialty is the marketing and business consulting to help you get more traffic and eyeballs and sales. So if you want to learn more, just request a demo. That's all you got to do. Aside from that, we have another Art Business Morning show tomorrow morning, right? Yeah. Art Business Mornings, okay, with Patrick and I, where we discuss all things art business industry related, right? So that will be at that'll be 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 Eastern. Okay, so join us for that.
You want to do a flash?
We'll figure that out. I'm not sure.
Marinate on it.
Yeah, we'll marinate on it. But make sure you like us on Facebook, like our Facebook page if you want to be notified when we go live, or YouTube if you're on there. If you happen to be on there, you'll be notified when we go live on those so that you can hop on. And then on Wednesday, we will have an art business workshop, okay, for non-Art Storefronts customers, where we do free art business consulting. That's where we answer your questions, figure out what's the number one thing that you're stuck on in your business that you might have been stuck on for years, okay? Or you're stuck on right now. Is your online art business moving forward? If it is not, we want to talk to you. What is your problem? What is your problem? Because you have to solve that. You need to fix that now. What is it?
Popping up are people stressing about the shipping. And I go, stressing about the shipping?
What about the shipping?
What about the selling? Do you know how easy it is to deal with the shipping after you've done the selling?
Can you believe how many topics artists and photographers will stress about when they don't have sales? They'll stress about the printing. They'll stress about the shipping. They'll stress about, you know, the detailed pricing, whether they should have limited editions or not. How about getting some sales? How about getting to market and getting some sales, right? How about it? Do that first, all right? Do that first. Then you have champagne problems, as we call it, right? When you have the sales, then see what your real problems are. You probably won't have very many, okay? But my goodness, that's what we call unclogging the drain, right?
Yep.
You put these things in the drain that are stopping you from launching and moving forward and getting to market and doing marketing and getting to market, which is the only thing that matters, right? You put that stuff in your drain and you go nowhere. You go nowhere. And you know what? You know what the biggest problem with that is, Pat? Here's the biggest problem. It's not that one question. It's not that one question. It's because I know the person who asked that question, that's how they make decisions. Because once we unplug that one, guess what's happening next? There's another one.
Right in. Yeah.
There's another one. There's another one. There's another one.
That's why we're live 5 to 6 days a week. Because if you're constantly getting good inputs, you're constantly having the nonsense pulled out of the drain, you're constantly not focusing on the low ROI, no ROI activities. SEO, yeah, SEO, huge one, huge one. No ROI, huge one. No ROI in the damn SEO. Don't do it. Don't waste your time on it.
Don't do it.
But I think the part of it is like the plumbing analogy might need to be changed, because what needs to happen is it's not like go 3 months problem, unplug it. Go 3 months problem, unplug it. It needs regular maintenance. It needs regular maintenance. I might need to like work on the analogy a little bit, right? Like, you know, I got this wok, right? And if you're cooking on a wok because it's carbon steel, it can potentially rust if you don't have like a really good base coat on it. And you constantly need to be oiling it up. It's almost like that. I'm going to come up with something better. But look, the reality is stress about the sales. If you're 100% stressed about the sales, you're going to start making sales. When you're 100% stressed about the other nonsense downstream, you're not going to be making sales. That is how it goes. And we just see it time and time and time again. So that's how it goes.
Yep. And it's like with that specific thing, it's like it's a mindset shift, right? It's an understanding of like yourself where you're going, I'm stressing about shipping. I'm stressing. What are all of the things you're stressing about that do not have a high return on investment on your time? You guys think about that. Like, are you stressing about, there was a gentleman who came on one of our workshops last week and he said to me, it was great. He knew it too. He's like, I need you to help me unclog my drain. I know I got a problem here. And he goes, I'm spending all my time constantly like re-editing photos in Photoshop or Lightroom, right? He's like, it's like it was almost like obsessive compulsive, right? He's like, and he's like, I know, like I'm making changes and I'm doing all this different work and nothing's moving forward. And, you know, the image that I edited is probably no better than the last one I edited, right? And it's like, and he's like, tell me, and he's like, I can't do anything else because that's all I'm doing. And these are all the same thing, guys. They're disguised in your mind as separate tasks, but they're all the same thing. Anything that is stopping you from getting to market and doing marketing is not moving your business forward, is a waste of your time. I'm telling you that right now, because any assumptions you make about your business are more than likely wrong. You only learn this as an entrepreneur for many years, right? You only learn it the hard way. Where
there's only one person. There's only one person that can tell you. What's that person called?
A customer.
The market. Right?
The market, your customers. That's it. That's it, right? You have to get to market. That is the ultimate truth. And you have to build your business around the market, right? You can't build something and force it on the market. You have to listen to the market and make decisions after that. So when you understand that mental framework, you realize how fast can I get to market, right? How fast?
Yep.
How fast can I get these things out of my way and ship that thing, right? I'm going to try a new fine art book. Great. Do you think that's a good idea, Nick? Stop asking me. Ship it. Just ship it.
No one can.
Nobody can tell you. I'm going to think about this and do this and this. Should I do this strategy? Stop talking about it. Just do it. Come back after you've done it and tell me what the results were. I don't even think you'll need my advice. You'll know what they were, right? But awesome. Get to market.
Awesome guy on the one today. Was it Gordy? I can't remember if it was Gordy or Gord. I think it was Gordy. And Gordy's a photographer. And, you know, in classic fashion, he knows exactly what his problem is, right? He's like, I got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And it was exactly that. I've been a photographer for a long time. I have all of these different styles. I'm trying to narrow it down to which one to do. Problem is, he's been trying to narrow it down for 15 years. Okay.
My goodness.
It's like you're a farmer. It's like you're a farmer and you have this farm, right? And you're growing apples, and you got blueberries, and you got some squash, you got some bok choy, and you got some corn, and you're like, I just don't know which one's going to sell the best or which one I should take to market. Put that crap in the back of the wagon. Okay. Put all that produce and fruit in the back of the wagon, take it down to the market and find out, because no one else can tell you. Just that simple. And everyone just keeps getting stuck and stuck and stuck and stuck. And by the way, how many times in your career, my career, have we done the same nonsense?
Exactly. It's the only reason we know.
I'm not throwing barbs here. I've done this countless times.
It's the only reason we know. It's the only reason we know, right? Is like, you've done this, and then you spend an unbelievable amount of time, and then you finally get to market, and it's all wrong. It's all wrong, right? And then you go, oh my gosh, when you've done that enough, you realize, how much time did I just waste? How much money did I waste? Resources. So much that you flip the whole thing around, and you realize that, you can't, no matter what your hunch is, most of the time your hunch is wrong. Most of the time your hunch is wrong. And so it's the volume of execution, right, that gets you to the right answer. And it's how fast you can execute, right? So I always think about, how am I overcomplicating this project or idea or decision? You and I talked about one today. You and I talked about one earlier, and I was like, we're going to do one. We're going to make it really easy. And you're like, there's a specific tool that you're like, we're not going to use that, right? And I'm like, no, because that makes it way too hard, and we're not going to get it done. We won't get it done if we start implementing this other stuff.
Nope.
Let's figure out where we can get 80% of the value, like the 80-20 rule, right? I want to get 80% of the value. I will easily forgo that last 20% of perfection, in order to ship that project quickly and get the ROI. And that's how everybody should be thinking, right? So whether it's about, pricing your artwork, or what niche you have, or what images you have, I know you have 3 or 5 niches. Every artist or photographer has that. Everybody does, right? But get it to market. Get it to market. Once you start marketing, you'll find out if anybody wants it. You'll find out which ones they like. And then you'll know where you should be spending your time, right? So you're no longer out there just, shooting a bunch of images or painting stuff for no reason. Like, if you're not painting and shooting like based on market feedback, I don't really know what you're doing. I really don't. I have no idea what you're doing. You should be looking at your posts and your marketing and looking at what people are engaging with the most, right? Where's that response? Which ones have done better? Go back and look at all of your posts. Which ones of those seem to have the best engagement? And of course, you got to reconcile this with your sales. Whatever you're selling is obviously the ultimate truth, right? But if you're not doing more of what is actually working in the real market with real human beings, then I don't know what you're doing. Now, you need to completely refocus on that and forget everything. Get all the nonsense out of your head and only listen to what the market is telling you.
Yeah. Somebody left a great comment today in the chat, and I can't remember who it was, but I gave him a shout out at the time, which is like, you can't steer a parked car.
Ooh. Oh, that's a good one.
It's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
And
you can't steer a parked car.
I love that.
You can't steer a parked car. So true.
I love that. So that's exactly what you're doing when you're working on these low return on investment of your time activities, right? These low ROI activities. You're literally, it's like you're sitting in your driveway in a parked car, and you're just turning the steering wheel back and forth and saying, hey, Nick and Pat, should I turn it this way? Or should I go there? Yeah. Should I turn it left or should I turn it right? And you and I are going, do you realize you're in a parked car?
Yes.
Like, your problem is you're in a parked car, not the fact of whether you should turn it left or right, or whether you should use your blinker or not, or you should be in first gear or second gear. You're not even aware that you're in a parked car.
Yeah.
Classic.
Sir, pull over. I'm already pulled over. I can't pull over further. I love those guys. Okay, Art.
That's a great analogy. I love that one.
Right. Yeah. Whoever it is, I got to go audit the chat and give that guy a serious shout out, or gal. I can't remember who it was. Our business mornings tomorrow, 9 a.m., 11 Pacific,
yep.
12 Eastern. I realize it's not technically the morning for you.
Bring your coffee. Have some coffee with us, guys. Bring your coffee, have some coffee. We'll be chatting. I don't have my cup right here. I'll have it tomorrow. But we will be drinking coffee, talking art business at the Art Business Morning Show tomorrow morning. Tell a friend, who needs help. Okay. Tell a friend who needs help, who needs to get their business on track. Maybe it's somebody that who's just been demolished by this pandemic and they need a better art business strategy. Because look, if you're not building an online art business strategy and you're not going in the right direction, like, you need to be at these things. You need to fix that. You got to do something. You got to do something, because the old way, the old world is over.
Stuck in a parked car in your driveway? If so,
then I have something for you.
Yeah. So we got the Art Business Mornings. By the way, we're going all in on art business because we're creative and it works. We've got the Art Business Workshops, and we've got the Art Business Questions answered. So
Marcelino dropped a comment there on Facebook. He's talking about the early bird special, dropped his email for us to contact him. So Marcelino, what you want to do is request a demo. Anybody that wants to learn more about art storefronts, your next step is to request a demo. There's no commitment. It takes about 20 seconds. Fill out the form. We have them in all of these posts that you're seeing here. Instagram, it'll be in the link in the bio. And there's a request a demo button on our site. So if you want to take advantage of the early bird special, you need to request a demo first so that we can make sure you're a good fit for Art Storefront, show you everything. And then if you decide you want to take advantage of the special, it's ending at the end of this month, the early bird special, to save money on Art Storefronts, then go ahead and do that. So that's your next step, Marcelino, request a demo.
Yeah, I really like how we're rounding it out too, right? Like, we've got, this show and, call it the Art Business Mornings, which are essentially us ranting and raving about the latest and greatest, what we're seeing on the ground stats, right? What we're learning from the trench warfare, the greatest lessons, the greatest opportunities, what's working, all of that. Fantastic. Got the Art Business Workshops. That's where you come in with your questions and we get you sorted, unclog the drain, everything else. Out of that, we're pulling out the Art Business Questions, ... answered. And those things are like catching fire on social media, because it's questions like, how much money do I need to market my art? What do I do if I have multiple niches? What's the best way to think about pricing? How do I deal with signed versus not signed, right? Like, how do I price?
Those are good.
All of the normal questions people have, and I could like go through the thing, but all of it collectively, my ego, Nick's ego aside, I do believe if those are a big portion of your inputs, you're going to get on the right track. Because one of the things that's been so profound about this journey to live video that started at the pandemic is, pre-pandemic, we were stuck behind our digital walls, talking to customers occasionally in the Facebook group here or there, but not like now. Not like now. I mean, I'm talking between the two of us, we are directly fielding in upwards of 500 questions from artists and photographers live on video on a weekly basis. Contemplate that, wrap your noodle around that. That's insane, right? Like, if we were, that's like working at the Apple store for like a week, right? Like, it's sort of insane. So that pattern recognition in all of that, I know these problems that you're getting stuck on. There's nothing new under the sun with all of this. And so I do feel like, hearing some of this stuff, you'll be able to knock some of the nonsense and unclog your own drain, right? Yeah, that's what I think. It's sort of wild. But anyway, I like what we're teaming. All right. That's all I'm saying. And my preference is you subscribe to YouTube. The reason I like YouTube, by the way, and I don't know if you notice this in your own browsing habits, but like, if you have the Instagram app up, okay, let me get a phone. If you've got like Instagram on here, right, or you've got Facebook on here, okay, and you want to put the thing into sleep mode and put it into your pocket, it kills the stream. Kills it on Facebook, kills it on Instagram, not YouTube. But you could lock it and YouTube will keep playing, So if you've got headphones on and you're just kind of cruising around, YouTube's the only one that does that on the iPhone. Like, if you have an Android, if you have Facebook going, right, and you're watching a video or whatever, or Instagram, and you press the lock, there's no way it keeps playing in your ears, right? You don't know. It's not your listening habit.
No. I think it shuts off for me, actually.
Yeah. And so I just find that, like, a lot of times I'm walking the dog, or, I've got these things in, or my wired earphones in, and I'm running around, or I'm like going to pick up the kids. And the fact that I can like be on YouTube, start the thing, close the phone, and then just be in the zone. Like, it's really just good hack. It's a good hack.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what else too? For those of you who love listening to podcasts, like to binge podcasts, go to our Art Marketing podcast. All of our episodes are actually going on there. And we've got a bunch of awesome ones over the past 2 weeks, 4 weeks that we've been hitting these topics. Those are great too. You can hit a lot of them like in one shot. So check that out. It's go ahead.
Someone on YouTube just told me El Bartery Gallery, which, by the way, the wisdom of the crowd is becoming real. Awesome. I feel like I've been like 10 of these things recently. She says it only works if you have YouTube Premium, which I do.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is.
Let me tell you something. If you are a parent, okay, of young children, okay, and you don't have YouTube Premium, I question what's going on in your world, because the minute a commercial comes on, my children start throwing things, okay? They get up. Do you know how hard it is to get them sat down, engaged, leave me alone, stop screaming? The minute a commercial comes on, you could lose it all. Are you nuts? You don't want to lose it all. You finally got them settled down. So I'm done.
That's what Disney Plus, Netflix, and Amazon Prime are for.
Yes.
Prime Video. All the above.
So anyway, that's
a little blippy in there too.
Yeah, but the larger point, I'm starting to fill out the art business questions, and I'm just looking at the stats on Instagram, and it's like people just like the bite size, like get a quick question, get a quick answer, And we got a lot of really good ones in there. So yeah, that's what I got.
All right, cool. We'll leave it there. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning, Art Business Mornings. Join us for the coffee. And it'll be real.
Yeah, right.
It always is.
Yeah.
See you guys.